There are no two ways about it. Formula One is a dangerous sport. Racing at breakneck speeds in some of the world's most sophisticated machinery is no walk in the park. However, there are factors that can influence a driver's relative safety, ranging from the weather to the proximity of other drivers. However, the circuit is another, possibly more important factor. With each track presenting its own challenges and hazards to the drivers, it's easy to see why Formula One tracks are more dangerous than others. So without any further ado, here is a list of some of the most dangerous circuits on the current calendar. The Marina Bay Street Circuit, Singapore. Despite the lower speeds involved, street circuits are known for being mentally taxing, requiring full concentration at all times and little time for respite on the short straights. But Singapore is a beast unto itself. It is renowned for being one of the most difficult races to compete in, both physically and mentally, meaning it requires a kind of preparation, unlike any other race. The heat is one of the most difficult factors for F1 drivers to adjust to when racing in Singapore. Singapore has an average year-round humidity of more than 80%, and the temperature in October is still around 30 degrees C, given its proximity to the equator. The drivers are used to racing in hot conditions in the Middle East or in mainland Europe during the summer, but nothing compares to the sapping conditions of Singapore. And it's not just the heat and humidity that makes Singapore so difficult. Singapore's average speed is quite low in comparison to the high-speed tracks of Jeddah and Baku. The 23-corner layout also means there aren't many opportunities to take a break. As a result, the Singapore race is always one of the longest of the season. Since its debut on the calendar in 2008, the Singapore Grand Prix has never been completed in less than 1 hour and 51 minutes and has 4 times exceeded F1's 2-hour time limit. No other race comes so close to the time limit as frequently as this one, meaning endurance is a big element a driver must prepare for, particularly managing the heat for so long. Aussie driver Daniel Ricciardo said his first Singapore Grand Prix back in 2011 remains the toughest physical activity he's ever completed. I wasn't prepared, and that sounds like I was partying all week. I didn't realise how much the humidity and the relentlessness nature of that circuit with like no real straights to have a rest. I'd never really experienced anything like that. Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, Belgium. The Belgian Grand Prix is one of F1's most recognisable and historic races. The event has appeared in every season of Formula One since its inception in 1950. While Zolder and Nivelles-Buller hosted a few races in the 1970s, the Spa-Francorchamps circuit established itself as the Belgian Grand Prix's permanent home. While the track remains one of the most iconic in the world, it is also regarded as one of the most dangerous. And it gets this reputation because of one set of corners. Eau Rouge is one of motorsport's most famous hills, having been the subject of hundreds of posters, photos, and legendary racing moments. It's also extremely dangerous, as evidenced by the placement of the barriers and the nature of the ever-narrowing corner that leads back into the racing line. It was the site of 22-year-old Antoine Hubert's death in 2019. This is how Sébastien Buemi described it. I think what makes it special is, in general, the elevation. It's like a big wall. You arrive there with a lot of speed, and at some point you are blind. So all of those details make it, I would say, special. If you turn a tiny bit too late or too early, you can have a big crash. So how you position the car going into the corner is very crucial, just because you cannot afford to make any mistakes if you want to stay flat and carry the speed. You need to touch the first apex a tiny bit, then you obviously try to be very smooth with the steering, and then you cut a little bit on the exit curb at the top of Eau Rouge, just to try to straight line as much as you can. Jeddah Corniche Circuit, Saudi Arabia. The new Jeddah circuit takes pride in being the fastest street circuit on the calendar, with Lewis Hamilton's 2021 pole position lap clocking in at 254 kilometers an hour. However, with barriers close to the circuit and a number of blind apexes, its flat-out swooping characteristics have opened the door for potential trouble when cars are running close together. Red Bull driver Sergio Perez describes the layout challenges in great detail and believes the circuit is unnecessarily dangerous. It's a really nice circuit, very dangerous though in terms of there are a lot of straights, but you are turning, and there are blind corners where I hope nothing happens. If you're like, it's too dangerous without a real reason. When you look at the onboards, it's quite scary. I think we can't forget the fact that safety has to take priority. I think I've spoken to some of the drivers and we all kind of think that we're the ones sitting in the car, and the speed differences that we tend to see if something goes wrong is a massive one. Circuit de Monaco. The Monaco Grand Prix, the crown jewel of Formula One, is perhaps the most iconic and highly decorated race on the calendar. The streets of the Principality have long been Formula One's ultimate driving challenge, dating back to 1929 and the early days of Grand Prix racing. It's the purest, unadulterated track with no margin for errors as drivers attempt to navigate its narrow, bumpy streets. The circuit configuration has remained largely unchanged since its inception in 1929, and as a city circuit, it is closely linked to the Principality's road system. What little changes there were almost entirely related to redefinitions of the town's main roads. This results in a completely unsuitable venue for modern Grand Prix racing, which makes it so special. Because of the tight and twisty nature of the circuit, it favours driver skill and precision above all else. However, because the course is so narrow and dangerous, there is very little overtaking, as demonstrated by the 2021 Monaco Grand Prix, which had only one on-track overtake in a 78-lap race. Nelson Piquet famously compared the race to riding a bicycle around your living room. The famous tunnel section is reported to be the most difficult for drivers to deal with due to the quick transition from light to dark, then back to light at one of the course's fastest points. The circuit is widely acknowledged to be more dangerous than other Formula One circuits. Michael Schumacher, who won the race 5 times, stated before the 2012 Grand Prix that the additional risk is justifiable once a year. In fact, according to the FIA's current safety criteria, the track wouldn't even be allowed on the current calendar. Baku City Circuit, Baku. The Baku City Street Circuit has many dangers around the corner, literally. Being a street circuit, there is no runoff area, so making a mistake can mean the end of your race and a significant bill for your team. However, the Azerbaijan track makes our list for one specific reason. The long straight on the Baku Street Circuit is one of the season's fastest sections, with drivers expected to reach over 340 km per hour. And while the speeds are dangerous on their own, the entrance to the pit lane makes this section even scarier. In a video titled How to Master the Baku Track, 2016 F1 champion Nico Rosberg explains why the end of the lap is the most dangerous in the sport. It's one of the most dangerous of the whole year, and it was quite scary. Imagine something breaks on the car here. You're at 340 km per hour. On the left, just 4 meters to the left, there's just a wall and it's facing you. If something breaks and you're in that wall, it's the end. There's no more you. This is one of the most scary places I've ever driven an F1 car. To go by there just feels ridiculously wrong, but you have to try and blend it out. Autodromo Nazionale Monza, Italy. A quick glance at the Monza circuit map, where the Italian Grand Prix is held, makes the track appear simple. It has a lot of long straightaways and only a few turns. A closer inspection reveals, however, that racing a Formula One car here is far more complicated than it appears. Monza, one of our only 4 circuits from the inaugural 1950 season still in use today, pushes drivers to some of their fastest speeds of the year. The straightaways earn Monza the nickname Temple of Speed, but it's the 11 corners that make even the best drivers struggle to get the most out of their cars. Teams adjust their cars' front and rear wings to provide less downforce than any other track to take advantage of the long straights. This increases top speed, but makes braking more difficult. Slowing down takes longer when there's less force pushing down on the car. By the end of the distances, the car will see some of their fastest speeds of the year, up to 360 km per hour. Former Formula One racer Gina Alesi describes the sensation of driving on the track. At those speeds, you feel that the car is about to lift off from the track. It's something that you can only find in Monza. Sometimes it even feels quite hard to keep the car in a straight line on the straights. The high-speed nature of the circuit is what makes it so dangerous, and the first chicane is especially prone to large crashes due to the sheer amount of speeds drivers must bleed off before entering the tight series of corners. In recent years, there have been numerous notable incidents. Marcus Ericsson's high-speed rollover on the main straight occurred when his DRS failed to close as he approached the first corner, causing him to lose control and swerve into the barrier. Then there was the collision at the first chicane of the 2021 Grand Prix between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, a watershed moment in their season-long battle for the World Championship. The Silverstone Circuit, United Kingdom. The Silverstone Circuit is home to the Mercedes-AMG Formula One team and serves as the official track for the British Grand Prix. This track is known as the home of British motorsport and is located in Silverstone, Northamptonshire in the United Kingdom. Apart from being one of the most iconic circuits in the world, it's well known for its high-speed layout. And because the track is so fast, dangerous high-speed crashes occur almost every year. Max Verstappen was taken to hospital in 2021 after colliding with championship rival Lewis Hamilton at the terrifyingly fast Copse Corner. Then in 2022, another major incident occurred. After Pierre Gasly and George Russell collided on lap 1 at Silverstone, Zhou Guanyu was flipped, with the Alfa Romeo skidding across the asphalt upside down before being lifted into the air and between the barriers in the Turn 1 runoff. Both drivers came through unscathed thanks to the improved safety barriers. But this does not diminish the inherent danger of the circuit. So, that concludes our list. What do you think? Is there any other tracks that you think deserves a mention for being one of the most dangerous on the calendar? Let us know in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to receive notifications of future uploads.